Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle with Damn Fancy Creations, and even though I don't have a fancy video intro today, that is not going to stop me from sharing this awesome tumbler tutorial with you guys. So today's tutorial is going to be a super fun flamingo tumbler tutorial, if you haven't guessed that already. I just think that flamingos are a super fun way to kick off spring and summer, and I just love flamingos. So today's tutorial, we are going to be doing a glitter ombre stripe, and in between the glitter I am using some fun flamingo vinyl from Sparkleberry Ink. And then around the flamingo vinyl, I am going to go back and add some gold leaf stripes. And of course, we're finishing it off with a fun flamingo quote and image. So if you guys are ready to see how I create this tumbler, let's get started. So as usual, we are going to start with a prepped tumbler that is spray painted with a flat white spray paint. Then we're going to need some painter's tape, some glitter colors, flamingo vinyl, clear gloss spray, and I am putting down some wax paper so I don't get glitter everywhere. So to start, I am just going to tape the painter's tape around the top of the tumbler and then one directly beneath it. This is basically how I start out all of my spray painted plaid cups. So if you have seen this tutorial, we are going to do the exact same first step. So what this is basically going to do is create 1 inch of blank tumbler that we can work on, and then a 1 inch painter's tape that is going to be our spacer. And we are going to do this all the way down our tumbler. And this is a straight skinny, so it is pretty easy to match up the ends of the tape because there is no taper, but even if there was a taper, it would not be that difficult to line them up. And for the last one, I just kind of eyeballed it. And then what I'm going to do is get my glitter colors ready. So I am going to do the last color, kind of one full stripe and then ombre the second stripe. So I am spraying the very bottom strip with clear gloss spray, and then I am just going to sprinkle on the glitter. And I sprayed the second stripe a little bit because I wanted the second stripe to be ombre'd with the next glitter color that I use. And I am going from lightest to darkest, and I just kind of picked some different corally colors. So for this color, I am spraying the third stripe fully and then the second one about halfway so I can pour the glitter down and get that ombre effect. So I am just barely sprinkling that color on. And some spots needed a little bit more of the second color, so I just went back and sprinkled a little bit on. And then for the third color, we are going to spray the second to top stripe. And then sprinkle on your glitter. And then we are going to spray the top stripe. And you can always go back and spray some more clear spray if you need to touch up any of the areas, but I didn't need to on this one, so I am just removing my tape. And I already really like how the colors were coming out. I just think that coral pink colors just are perfect for spring and summer. And then I'm going to clear spray this really, really well and then add a couple layers of epoxy. So after we have epoxied and sanded this down, I am going to apply the flamingo vinyl. And I did epoxy and sand it so it's very smooth so that my vinyl is not going to have any bumps underneath it. Now I did pre-cut this vinyl. I did all my strips about 1 inch wide. That way the vinyl will overlap the glitter just a little bit, because I believe the painter's tape is actually like 3/4 of an inch. It's not quite a full inch. And if you are using patterned vinyl like this, you do need to make sure that your pattern is going the same way. So I did not want to have flamingos that were right side up and then have flamingos that were upside down. So that's why I kind of lined everything up just to make sure that it would all look nice once it's applied. This one was a little bit longer than I wanted, or a little bit wider than I wanted, so I did trim some of the excess off. And the bottom, I am actually going to gold leaf. So I decided to go ahead and do the bottom first. That way, when I applied the vinyl, it would be over the gold leaf and the gold leaf would not be covering the vinyl. So that way the vinyl still had a nice crisp line to it. And I know I'm a little bit out of frame right here, but I am basically just applying my glue stick to the bottom of my tumbler. If you guys have not seen how I apply gold leaf with a glue stick, I do have another tumbler tutorial on that I will link here if you guys want to check that out. And once I have the glue on there, I just take a sheet of gold leaf and just kind of pat it down. And then very carefully pull off the excess, and I just add that back to my little gold leaf packet. And after the bottom sits for a little while, I will brush off that excess. But for now, we are just going to apply our vinyl. So I just line up one line and wrap it around the tumbler. And again, because this is a straight tumbler with no taper, it is very easy to match them up. And if you want to trim off the excess, you can. I did not see a need for it, so I just wrapped it around. And the pattern actually matched up pretty well. This is a fairly busy pattern, so even if the ends did not match up perfectly, you still would not be able to tell very well. This one I did trim because the ends were a little bit different size. But I really like how this one was turning out. I think that the pink flamingos went perfectly with the glitter. And I love sparkleberry vinyl, so I do try to use it as much as I can. Even though I make smaller projects than shirts or bags or things like that. So I am just kind of burnishing this gold leaf into the tumbler, making it very smooth. That way I can lay my last piece of vinyl without the gold leaf getting in the way. So ta-da! Here's what it looks like so far. So now we are going to apply the gold leaf, and this way I'm going to do it with double-sided tape. I have a tutorial where I apply it with quick coat with a glue stick, and now I am doing it with double-sided tape. I typically use a glue stick, but I know that some ways work better for other people, so I wanted to show you guys a few different ways of how to do it. So the double-sided tape, I am just following the lines of the vinyl. Then I will pick up one side of the backing and then smooth the other side down. It's kind of hard to see in this video because everything is kind of the same color. I do have a full video of how I do my serape tumbler, where I go into more detail about how to lift up the backing and then smooth the other side down. This just makes it really easy when you go to remove the backing. The backing will come off in one piece instead of trying to lift up one side when you're trying to apply the gold leaf. So I lift up the backing and push the other side down and then smooth the backing back over. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And I will say that double-sided tape is good to use if you really want that really crisp gold leaf line. I personally like the look of it being distressed, so I do prefer to use glue stick because it is really easy just to kind of get in there with your dry brush and, you know, distress that gold leaf really good. But this definitely does work as well. You will just get a little bit more crisper lines. And I did accidentally rub some of that gold leaf off on the bottom, so I had to go back and fill in that little hole. So now I am just removing the backing from the double-sided tape. I just removed about half of the lines, and then I take my gold leaf and just kind of smooth it on there. With the double-sided tape, it's good because there is no waiting for it to dry. You can pretty much just smooth it on there. and rough it up and get all those extra pieces off right then if you want to. And I do prefer to use the sheets. I know you guys have probably seen this in a lot of my videos, but with the sheets, you can get a more smoother finish or smoother line versus a more crinkled line if you apply the gold leaf flakes instead of the sheets. And it's much easier just to take an entire piece and just kind of wrap it around the tumbler instead of having to dig out several different flakes just to apply it. And you guys can see that I am just kind of taking the unused pieces from the previous lines and adding it to the next line. So that way you don't really get a whole lot of waste. I do try to save as much of my gold leaf as I can. I do have a little cup that I keep it in, and then I just add it to my gold leaf flake bag instead of my gold leaf sheet bag. So now I am going to remove the backing of the rest of the lines, and we're going to do the same thing. And I finally just decided to add an entire sheet to the tumbler. And then I kind of just peeled up the middle part and added it to the double-sided tape. So already this tumbler was turning into one of my favorites. I just loved the ombre glitter and the flamingos and the gold leaf. I really liked this color combo, and the vinyl was super cute. I've had this vinyl for such a long time, but if you guys ever get that one sheet of vinyl that you love so much you just don't want to use it, that's pretty much how I felt about this flamingo vinyl. And now that all my lines were on, I was just kind of double checking to make sure that everything was covered really, really well. And then I take my medium size dry brush and just kind of start brushing all of the excess off. Like I mentioned before, with the double-sided tape, you don't really need to wait. I mean, as soon as that gold leaf is on there, it is stuck to it. So you can brush it pretty hard, and all the gold will stick to the double-sided tape. I was being a little bit careful with the bottom because I did apply that with a glue stick, and I wasn't quite sure if it was fully dry yet. And I decided to start trying to remove these gold leaf pieces that were burnished into the epoxy. But when I was doing that, I actually decided that I liked the look of the distressed gold that was actually on the glitter part of the tumbler. So I decided to leave it, and I actually added a little bit more of the gold leaf. So after that gold leaf is on there, you can either spray seal it really well with a clear spray, or you can epoxy. I'm pretty sure that I just clear sprayed this one. because the gold leaf was pretty thin, I did not think it was going to interfere with my vinyl placement. And this is my little water slide image that I created that we are going to put in this super cute frame. So I already measured and found out where exactly I wanted to put this frame. It was going to fit perfectly between these 3 little lines. And again, I did not have my transfer tape down here, so I just decided to apply this with my hands. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I did have to pull this up a time or two before I got it perfect. You can also use the wet method to apply this vinyl, which is what I decided to do. That way you can move it around or remove it a little bit easier. And then you just want to smooth everything out really good. Make sure you get all of those little water droplets out from underneath the vinyl, because you definitely do not want to epoxy your tumbler if it has water on it. So once I got all that water out, we are ready to apply our frame. So typically when I apply larger vinyl pieces like this, I will press down the middle first, and then smooth one side and then smooth the other. And the same thing with how we applied the white on top of the gold. You want to make sure that all of the air bubbles are out of there. Everything is really smoothed down. And once everything is really smooth, I actually just took my gloss clear spray paint and sprayed the vinyl with it. Instead of epoxying, I try to save as many steps as I can. And if you spray your tumbler with clear gloss spray, then your water slide will not show lines. It will look just like you applied it over an epoxied base. So I am going to clear spray this real quick, and then we will be back to apply our water slide. So now my frame is pretty glossy, you guys can see. And my water slide has been sitting. I typically just wet the back of my water slides and let it sit. And then you want to wet the part where you are applying your water slide, so that when you add your water slide to your tumbler, it is easy to maneuver until you get it in the position that you want. So this one was already pretty straightly applied, which usually never happens. And I will just take my microfiber cloth and squeeze out any of the water that is underneath the tumbler. And I will typically let my water slides sit for about 30 minutes to an hour to make sure that the water is dried. Some people like to wait overnight, which is totally fine. It does not matter. And I have seen several people ask if you need to spray seal the water slide again after it is on the tumbler, and the answer is no. Since you already sprayed the water slide with clear spray, it is already sealed and ready to go. So since I dremeled the tops and bottom edges when I originally sanded this tumbler, it is good to add to the turner for the final 2 layers of epoxy. And that is pretty much it for this tutorial. Once you add your final layers of epoxy, it is done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I cannot wait to see what kind of striped tumblers you guys come up with, and thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to find my tutorial group on Facebook that is linked in the description. Thanks for watching.